I spent 20 years of my life trusting my wife, believing in the family we had built together. We had 3 children, a comfortable home, and what I thought was a happy marriage. Every decision, every sacrifice, every joy was shared with her. I never questioned her loyalty, or at least I didn't allow myself to. But as the years passed, subtle inconsistencies began to creep in. Strange phone calls, vague excuses, and distant behavior that I brushed off, telling myself it was nothing. It all came to a head after a casual conversation with one of our friends. They mentioned something offhandedly about the resemblance between their child and their partner, and it made me think, really think, about my own family. For the first time, a terrifying doubt lodged in my mind. What if the children I loved and raised weren't biologically mine? The thought was unbearable, but I couldn't ignore it. I arranged for a DNA test, telling no one, not even my wife. When the results came back, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Each child's DNA profile showed that none of them were mine. My world shattered in that instant. 20 years of love, care, and sacrifice suddenly felt like a cruel illusion. The woman I had trusted, the mother of my children, had betrayed me completely and systematically. The pain was indescribable, but amidst the heartbreak, a burning sense of anger and determination began to rise. I didn't confront her immediately. 20 years of marriage had taught me that rash actions often destroy more than they repair. Instead, I gathered all the evidence, the DNA reports, correspondence, subtle patterns I had noticed over the years, and formulated a plan. She needed to understand the consequences of her actions fully, and I intended to make them undeniable. That evening, I returned home earlier than usual, pretending to have been at work. I needed to catch her in the act, to confirm my suspicions firsthand. As I entered our home, I noticed unusual activity, her demeanor, the way she hurriedly tried to hide a message on her phone. My heart pounded, and a cold, calculating resolve took over. I had to see the truth with my own eyes. I followed her discreetly, and within minutes discovered her in an intimate moment with a man I had vaguely known socially, but never fully trusted. She hadn't tried to hide it this time. The betrayal was blatant, undeniable, and devastating. For a moment, I felt the familiar surge of shock and anger, but I didn't react impulsively. Instead, I documented everything: photos, videos, and timestamps. My actions were deliberate. I wanted proof, clarity, and an irreversible record. When she finally noticed me, panic flashed across her face. She tried to speak, to explain, to beg for forgiveness, but I had no interest in excuses. The betrayal was complete, and the damage was irreversible. I calmly instructed her to leave and gave her clear boundaries regarding contact and behavior. She fled, guilt written all over her face, leaving me to process the reality of the past 2 decades. The next step was legal. I contacted a lawyer, explained the situation, and prepared for divorce. Custody arrangements were discussed for the children who biologically were not mine, but emotionally and legally had a bond with me. I wanted to ensure their lives remained as stable as possible, while simultaneously holding her accountable for 20 years of deceit. Divorce proceedings moved forward. The DNA evidence was undeniable, leaving her little room to manipulate the narrative. Custody and visitation were carefully structured to protect the children from further emotional harm, while acknowledging the complicated reality of their parentage. She attempted to argue, to mitigate the impact of her choices, but the truth was absolute. 20 years of betrayal couldn't be erased with words. Socially, the fallout was equally severe. Friends and extended family, once unaware of the deception, learned the truth. Her reputation, painstakingly built over decades, crumbled as the magnitude of her infidelity became clear. I didn't actively humiliate her publicly. The facts spoke for themselves, and the consequences were immediate and undeniable. She had gambled with trust, loyalty, and relationships she had taken for granted, and the price was enormous. In the months following the divorce, I focused on rebuilding my life. I established stability and routine for the children, ensuring their well-being and emotional security. Even though they were not biologically mine, my bond with them remained strong, rooted in years of shared experiences, love, and care. I became both parent and protector, guiding them through the aftermath of betrayal while reinforcing their sense of normalcy. I also dedicated time to myself, processing the emotional devastation of 20 years of deception. Therapy, self-reflection, and support from trusted friends helped me regain clarity and perspective. I realized that while betrayal can destroy trust, it doesn't have to destroy your future. By taking deliberate, calculated action, I had reclaimed control over my life, my dignity, and my family's well-being. Looking back, I understood that true revenge isn't about public humiliation or vengeful outbursts. It's about control, strategy, and long-term impact. By documenting her affair, catching her in the act, and enforcing legal and social consequences, I ensured that the betrayal she had carried out for 20 years would leave lasting repercussions. I didn't react out of anger. I acted with precision and purpose. Today, my life is rebuilt. The children and I thrive in a stable, loving environment. Vanessa faded from our daily lives, forced to confront the results of her deception. She lost her marriage, her credibility, and the carefully curated life she had manipulated. I, meanwhile, found strength and resilience, clarity and truth, and peace in knowing that my actions had secured a stable, honest future for myself and my children. The lesson was painfully clear. Betrayal, no matter how long hidden, has consequences, and the way you respond defines your future. I had lost trust, yes, but I had gained control, dignity, and a renewed focus on what truly mattered, my life and the children I raised with love. 20 years of lies could not erase the love, care, and stability I continued to provide. My revenge was not loud, not public, but it was absolute. It was deliberate, calculated, and final. In the end, I had walked through heartbreak, betrayal, and deception, and emerged with my dignity intact, my life rebuilt, and my children safe. Vanessa's choices left her with nothing but the consequences she deserved, while I reclaimed everything she had tried to steal over 20 years: trust, control, and peace.